Hi guys, welcome back. Before we start today's video, I just have a few things that I want to cover with you guys before we get started. Some updates and some things that I need to tell you about. So first of all, my health of late has been pretty poor. At first we thought that we were dealing with a condition known as gastroesophageal reflux disease, as I have had it in the past. So I began treating myself for the gastroesophageal reflux disease, like taking the supplements that were recommended to me and the diet that was recommended. However, I only had like a couple of days I felt okay, and then I got very, very sick again. Thursday night was particularly bad. I thought that I was going to end up in the ER. I couldn't breathe. I had a lot of pain in my chest and my stomach. My throat was very constricted. I had a rash. I was really itchy. And I thought to myself, this isn't right. This doesn't feel like good. It feels more like an allergy attack. So in a last-ditch effort to try and fix things myself, I ended up taking 2 Phenergan and then another 2 later on, and all the symptoms just stopped. So it was after that a new diagnosis was needed, and we've actually found out that I'm histamine intolerant. And what that means is I'm now developing food allergies, and the allergies are affecting my stomach, and they come through the wall of your stomach and they mimic the symptoms of GERD. So I have still been dealing with the health issue, and it's made me extremely tired, and I've been in a lot of pain. So the treatment for this is to get on a histamine-free diet now. So that means changing things up again, and regular daily antihistamines until it's resolved. So again, I am starting to feel a little better now, and I'm hoping that this is leading up to the end of it. That is why my videos have been slow, and it is also why we were unable to actually go out and film for Clarence Valley Paranormal yesterday like we wanted to. Bianca actually ended up really sick with the flu, so please everybody send her your well wishes. #GetWellBianca, because she's quite sick at the moment. And I was dealing with the aftermath of the allergy attack on Thursday night. I'm still very sore. Like, it leaves you very, very sore because you're struggling to breathe and to make your lungs work, and you're just sore after that kind of thing. And I was just feeling absolutely drained and wrung out. And also we had a huge storm go through yesterday afternoon, right about the time when we would have been filming. So we have rescheduled the date. We will be filming after Easter now at the location that we had planned on the 15th of April. We also have 2 more investigations coming on the following weekends from that to make up for not being able to go yesterday, and they are going to be to some pretty active locations as well. So that's what's been going on. Again, I do apologise for my videos being late and for us not being able to go and do the paranormal investigation yesterday, but I didn't want to do it without Bianca, and I still wasn't feeling well myself, and the weather came into it as well. But that's all going to be rectified soon, so please just stick with us. Also, I have been having issues with people asking how I make my videos, and do I use a teleprompter? Yes, I do. I need to use a teleprompter because the cases that I explore for each and every video are very involved, and it is easy to forget bits and pieces. Also, newsreaders since day dot have been using a teleprompter, hence the term newsreader. So that's why I use a teleprompter. It was also recommended to me by my producer to use a teleprompter, because before I started using that, I was looking down, I was looking to the side, referring to notes. Yes, you do need to refer to something when you are presenting a video such as the ones that I make. So yes, I do use a teleprompter. Yes, I am reading it, but that doesn't mean to say that I'm not going online and finding the stories, researching the stories, and then sitting down and writing out a script, which I then put over onto my teleprompter to be able to bring the videos to you. As you can probably tell, I'm not reading from anything now because I knew what I had to say. But I'm also dyslexic, and I tend to get numbers back the front. So I really need to be looking at a number when I'm talking about it or quoting it in a case. Otherwise, I'm going to get it back the front and upside down. So that comes into play as well. And there are some words that I will also say incorrectly There are a lot of bloopers and stops and starts when I'm making these videos, and I do have a learning disability as well. I don't feel the need to have to hide anything about myself from my subscribers. So this is why I am using the tool of a teleprompter. I'm sure there are a lot of really clever people out there who can just remember what they've read and then just sit here and talk. I'm not one of those people. I'm sorry guys, but I do have to use that. And if you refer back to media studies in high school, one of the first things you are taught is to use a teleprompter. So that is all the questions and issues addressed. So now let's just get into today's Missing Down Under, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. On the 22nd of September 1988, as the street lights began to flicker to life in Sydney's inner suburbs, a group of children playing in one of the front yards began putting away their playthings and running into the house for dinner. It was at this moment that 11-year-old Karipidis noticed his 9-year-old sister, Helen, with her gentle brown eyes and sweet smile and infectious laugh, was not rambling through the door with his other siblings. The question in his mind that would soon be shared with the rest of his family and Australia as a nation. As the streetlights came on, what happened to 9-year-old Helen Karipidis? I'm Andrea.M. and this is Missing Down Under. But before we go down another disturbing missing persons rabbit hole, if you enjoy true disaster stories, real crime, unsolved cases, the paranormal and unsolved phenomena, then you've come to the right channel, because that's mainly all that we do here. So if all that sounds like your cup of tea, please do me the favour of kidnapping the like button, repeatedly offend the subscribe button, and become a serial pest sharing with everyone you know. It's subscribers like you who truly help creators like myself continue to bring you content just like this. And with that being said, let's begin. Helen Karipidis was a beautiful and shy 9-year-old girl when she vanished whilst playing with her siblings and some friends from her own front yard in the Sydney suburb of Marrickville on the 22nd of December 1988. She was last seen at around 5:30 p.m. and it was either in her front yard or the playground in Marrickville. Helen was playing handball, as we just established, with her friends before she disappeared. Helen was wearing a red and blue striped top and black sweatpants at the time, and she was noticed to be missing at around 7 p.m. as the streetlights came on. Helen was playing in the playground attached to the complex at Illawarra Road, and her brother noticed that she just wasn't around anywhere. She was nowhere to be found. So Karipidis would go on to say, "What I remember is we were outside playing and Mum or Dad told us to go back inside, and I think Helen was playing with this girl. And the girl used to live in the complex, and she was the last person to see Helen alive." And he would go on to also say the friends were with her until about 4:30 p.m. or 5 o'clock, and come 7 p.m, that's when we started looking everywhere. We called the police straight away. Elias, in an interview with Channel 9 Australia in later years, would also go on to say, "The worst thing is not knowing. My dad believes, or reckons, that it was the social workers who took Helen, because they had a lot to do with their mother at around that time." Helen and Elias's dad, Theo Karipidis, was a former labourer of Greek heritage who back in 1988 spoke very little English, and for a while was suspected by New South Wales police of Helen's disappearance. When Helen vanished, Theo was on workers' compensation and was struggling with alcohol addiction. Media at the time indicated that the alcoholism meant his children were exposed to violence at home. Some even claimed the violence had compelled Helen to flee. But Elias is quick to set the record straight about his father and any involvement he may have had in Helen's disappearance. They tried to paint my dad as a bad person, he said, of police and media in the reports back in 1988. He is still an alcoholic, but he has changed. Helen going missing changed him dramatically and brought him closer to his family. And no family out there should ever go through this shocking ordeal, let alone being accused of the person who made the child go missing in the first place. So to say the Karipidis family have been through hell and back since the night little Helen disappeared would be a major understatement, especially when multiple theories about the disappearance began to emerge. Amongst these theories was the disturbing prospect that Helen may have been grabbed by a paedophile ring suspected to be operating in the Marrickville area in 1988. Another theory was that she was the victim of human trafficking involving the notorious Hillsong Church, although there has never been any substantiated proof of this claim. Helen's older sister, Maria, would tragically go on to take her own life 6 years after Helen went missing. But before that, just before Helen went missing, she went on to tell a teacher named Anne Martin in the days before Helen disappeared that Maria had told her that they were afraid of their father, and Helen was actually planning to run away before she disappeared. So this next part of the story is sensitive, so if you don't want to hear it, skip forward at least 5 minutes because it involves indecent behaviour towards children. Maria also went on to say that a man regularly took her and Helen to King's Cross to take nude photos of them, and that 2 boys who lived on the estate, and one of the boys, known only as Johnny, left around the time Helen went missing. A second witness testified that she saw Helen at a newsagent with a man on the day of her disappearance, and she would go on to say that Helen didn't really seem to know the guy personally, but he did give her some money to buy glitter. And it was out of character, everybody would say, for Helen to have just run up and disappear, despite what her sister had told the teacher. The belief surrounding Helen's disappearance began to emerge that Helen had been abducted and murdered soon after. Also, as of over 30 years later, there has still been no sign of Helen. Elias first became aware of the claims that Helen had been killed while searching online one night. He had stumbled across a video in which a woman claimed her children knew what had happened to Helen. He said, "Straight away, I just got goosebumps." He immediately set about searching for the woman, and they would eventually speak, and she would go on to say to him, "Yeah, we tried to get in contact." And he said he asked to speak with the women's children to hear firsthand their claims, but he would then never hear back from her. He would go on to say, for someone to make allegations and you don't want to come and meet or fill me in makes absolutely no sense. So people out there who want to spread lies, keep it to yourself. If you can't bring facts and prove it, then please keep it to yourself. Elias would go on to say the conversation with the woman left him with more questions than answers, and his mother Vula would go on to brush it off, as she didn't actually believe the claims that the woman was making. As well as alleging her children told her about Helen's disappearance, the woman also claimed that they also told a psychiatrist named Dr. Annie Schliebom that the children claimed to have witnessed Helen's ritualistic murder in a church. This would be a claim that Elias and his mother would both have trouble believing in because they never attended a Sunday church or a service or anything like that in the conventional sort of Christian religion, as they were members of a Greek church that was just down the road from them, and that was the only church they had ever attended. So to him it was like it would be difficult for Helen to meet anybody from said church. But even that being said, that doesn't mean she didn't run into somebody on the street that was from that church and she didn't actually know. So if there was a black church operating in Marrickville back then, it's quite plausible that nobody knew about it. And in the 1980s, there was a sort of a trend going around that people were saying that all these black Satan worshipping churches were kind of popping up. It was sort of like around the Satanic Panic era as well, with the case in America of the 3 boys that were accused of killing a child, and it was because simply they liked to dress goth and listen to Metallica. So this was kind of a little the same as that. A lot of people were saying when people go missing, especially children back in that era, that it could have been a black church or a black mass that had something to do with it. So the children also claimed to each being given a mysterious yellow drink and a biscuit, after which they would witness the murder of Helen Karipidis by the old witch in the room with Helen. However, these claims have never been substantiated, and no evidence has been found to support them. Dr. Schlebaum, who is now retired, remembered Helen and the children. However, she admits to no longer having their files. She would go on to say that the children were quite detailed and consistent in the information, but hardly anybody believed them, and this was the general attitude towards ritual abuse, although there were many proven cases overseas. She said the police, Royal Commission, and the YACS and FACS Child Welfare under different names found it all too hard and took the easy way out by disbelief. She also said, "I'm sure that it happened, and there was credible evidence." However, none was ever found. At a 2012 inquest into Helen's vanishing, the New South Wales coroner ruled the schoolgirl had likely been abducted and killed. Despite the findings, no one has ever been charged with Helen's death. Helen's family urge anyone with information into her disappearance to please contact the authorities. In 1989, 1 year after Helen disappeared, the New South Wales government announced a $50,000 reward for any information on Helen. Elias hopes the reward will prompt someone to come forward. At the time of her disappearance, Helen Karipidis was 130 centimetres tall, with long dark brown hair and brown eyes, and with an olive complexion, and she is of Greek descent. Helen was last seen wearing a red, white and blue t-shirt, black sweatpants and running shoes. At the time of her disappearance, Helen was in good spirits and looking forward to Christmas. If you have any information that may assist police to locate Helen, please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000 and you may remain anonymous. And what do you guys think about how Helen disappeared? I'd love to know your thoughts and theories, so please include them in the comments section below. And please also keep comments and replies respectful towards myself and each other, so that we can keep YouTube as a very friendly place for everybody involved. And if what we do here is not your cup of tea, that is perfectly fine. Kindly remove yourself to a channel that is more to your taste. And a big thank you to everyone who does regularly comment and has a chat with me, for always being so kind and respectful towards me and to each other. I just wanted to throw that in there because there is enough fighting and being unpleasant online as it is. So it's really nice to just keep YouTube a nice happy place for everybody. And thank you all so much again for watching and supporting my channel. Stay safe everybody. Much love, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.